May 25 is Africa Day, formerly African Freedom Day and African Liberation Day. It is the annual commemoration of the foundation of the Organization of African Unity on May 25, 1963. This day is celebrated in various countries in the African continent as well as around the world. This year's theme, Education Fit for the 21st Century, is hinged on the basis that education is the foundation for individual success and a prosperous Africa. And joining me from Abuja, Nigeria, to talk about this is Dr. Jasper Eradiri, Secretary General, All Africa Association of Small and Medium Enterprise. Good afternoon. Glad to have you join me.
Good afternoon.
Let me start off by asking you, how relevant is Africa Day celebration, which is today?
Well, thank you for that question. Africa Day is very relevant for us as Africans. We should celebrate ourselves. We should be thankful that the Africa we want, we are gradually getting to it, brick by brick. The visions and the dreams of the founding fathers, from Kwame Nkrumah to Julius Nyerere and all the others for them, they all wanted a particular vision. And the vision that we're talking about today is Africa is far away from crisis. Africa is far away from conflicts. Africa is far away from disease. Africa is far away from poverty, as it were. So the poverty index is not as it used to be. And, you know, it's about 60 years and counting. So whatever it was that was a dream, it may be slow, but it's sure, because what we are having to see today, talking about the AFCFTA, which is the African Continental Free Trade Area, which is the biggest free trade zone in the world. It's about a about $3 trillion. And that's why everybody is looking at how to key in and how to make this work, because that singular platform is able to encourage the boosting of intra-African trade, is able to encourage a connect. And so it's actually more like a one-stop shop to all the problems we have in Africa. It's still work in progress. I can't tell you that we are totally perfect. But then looking at it from where we're coming from, it's longer from where we're coming from, and towards achieving what we want, the distance is shorter.
Now, talking about Africa, education fit for the 21st century is a theme for this year. What does this mean, and how can this be achieved?
Basically, for AU guides itself and directs itself. So the African Union every year churns out a theme for which to guide them. If you don't guide and measure yourself, how would you know whether you have grown? How would you know the areas where you have a deficit? So education fit is proper. Where are we now in the world? It has to be in tandem what's going on in the world. The world is talking about AI. The world is talking about STEM. The world is talking about STEAM. So curriculum change is important, is relevant. Having a curriculum reform is key, because what we were given by the colonial masters may not be one size fits all. It may not be exactly suitable for us. What happens in the West and how it has been able to advance them is not exactly what it is in Africa. Africa is different. Africa is peculiar, and so education fit should be such that the education we should be talking about should be such that should enhance the competitive areas for which we have advantage. I mean, for instance, those from Niger Delta, what should their skill set be? What kind of education should they have? If God has blessed you, I was in Algeria recently, they've got the Mediterranean all around them. What kind of skill set should they be teaching their people? Beyond the medicine, beyond engineering, beyond accountancy or law, there are some specifics that you should be masters of. You should be the professional leading that space. And so education fit is proper. Until we must have teacher training and retraining. We must be able to deploy tech, because after all, we live in the time of tech, talking about AI, and then digital platforms and devices and internet should be the order of the day for our schooling. In fact, we should be able today. I am learning, I'm relearning and unlearning many things I learned in my time, because things have changed. And so we were talking about using blackboards back in the days. That's not
Just
what
to
the position
quickly
is today.
chip in there, because I still have a couple of questions for you. Looking at the African continent on the whole, what can be done to ensure synergy among African countries and also foster unity and commerce within African countries?
Well, one of the things we need to do over that for Africa, policies, we must be able to harmonize policies, we must be able to harmonize domesticate positions, especially positions that have been developed by the AU. You know, one of the issues the AU seems to suffer is people agree in a meeting, and then when it is time to implement, that's where you have a challenge. I mean, like, for instance, you have the AFCFTA that has been ratified by about 53 countries, and now 47 have ratified. So if 57 have accepted the agreement and signed on to it, and 47 have ratified, why are we still slow? Why are we having the issues of movement of trade and movement of goods? Why are we having the issue of visas? I mean, a few days ago, we all heard about Dangote saying that he needs 35 visas to get into countries as an African. Whereas somebody that comes in from France with a French passport has case. But you see, all these are within the plans and purview of the AU, and they're working at it. But you see, in working at it, the countries and nationalities are sovereign. You know, so how? I mean, Rwanda. What is different from Rwanda and Kenya?
Dr. Jasper,
and a few others that are already running with that beacon.
Right. Dr. Jasper, just to follow up on your line of thought about Africa. Now, Africa Union is now a member of the G20, and South Africa is scheduled to be the next president by 2026. What are the benefits for Africans from this?
Well, you must understand that that's global politics. Have been in that geometric space is very important. You will have a stronger voice. You'll be able to address issues of I mean, global issues. You should also have influence, global influence. You should have what I want to call better access to foreign direct investment. That's so that you can attract foreign investment. You will have better access to capacity, knowledge sharing, capacity building. You would also have access to better networks. And again, policy coordination, policy coordination. How do we facilitate an easy access to global expertise? All these are benefits that we can have as members of the G20. Remember, certain information are shared and left within a very small circle. That's the way it is. And so now that Africa is a member of that special circle, it means that those benefits, it's easier to draw down on them, and it's easier to work on aggressive development. And I believe that this will accelerate the economic prosperity that Africa seeks.
Indeed, we hope this will be beneficial to the African continent as a whole. But thank you so much for your insight on the news, Dr. Jasper Eradiri. Thank you once again.